Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Reimagine, a school leadership virtual webinar series by UniApply. So today we are going to discuss on a very important topic, and so we are going to talk about engaging and assessing learning and social emotional well-being of students. And to discuss this topic, we have eminent panelists, and I would take the liberty to introduce our eminent panelists. So we have Dr. Priyanka Mehta with us. She is principal of Sarvottam International School, Noida, a dynamic administrator and educationist with over 22 years of expertise in the field of education and 20 years of experience in school administration. She firmly believes in creating value for society. A totally people's person, she enjoys being with children's learning from their experience, joys, and failures. So, ma'am will join in a while. She got stuck somewhere. I will introduce to Dr. Saurabh Malhotra. Sir is the principal with Broadway's International School, Gurugram, a competent and qualified PhD in economics professional with around 18 years of experience in teaching, student counseling, and curriculum development, school administration. He is an All India coordinator for CBSE marking scheme preparation for economics. He earned recognition, high marks for the quality and creativity of classroom teaching and lesson plan and instructional material used in teaching diverse subjects. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Now, I would like to introduce Mrs. Vijay Lakshmi Singh. Ma'am is director with Indus World School, Gurugram. She has been an acclaimed school administrator for over 33 years. Rich and varied experience has given her the right learning vertical to become an educational management expert and school leader, along with sharpening her acumen as a curriculum developer. Her transformational role also include her reputation as a fine principal teacher trainer in various spheres of education. She has been conferred with converted CBSE award to teachers for the year 2014. Welcome, ma'am. Now, I would like to introduce Ms. Yamini Pal. She is Head of Social Emotional Ethics, SEE. That's the learning program at Prakriti School, Noida. Yamini Pal is a senior facilitator for the environment studies and heads the social emotional ethics learning program at Prakriti. She's a graduate from LSR for uh, and a postgraduate in education from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. She engaged learners in her class through experiential ways and inquiry. Not only she is a passionate reader and a storyteller, but she also enjoys theater and creating poetry. She has also received SEEL training from Dalai Lama Center for Peace in Education. Welcome, Yamini ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Uh, I would like to request the panelists to turn on the cameras and on the mics. So thank you all the attendees and the panelists to join today's webinar. My name is Ritesh, and I represent UniApply for all the viewers. I would just like to brief little about all the about UniApply. So UniApply is a common application platform which is transforming and digitizing schools application and admission process. So UniApply is a product of no paper form. So we are basically helping parents to basically explore school and kind of find a right choice for them based on various parameters. We all know this pandemic has impacted a lot of lives, right? In every way possible. If I talk about in the life of the old age people, the adults, and the school going children. So we are, and we all know that this is a difficult time, and student uh, basically they are suffering a lot. They are at home. They have to kind of transform because they were, they were used to the classroom learning process, but from last 1 year they are actually attending the virtual classroom. And recently we got to know by in the news that in Delhi specifically, no online classes are happening, in fact. So this is going to impact, and definitely I am going to discuss with on this issue with the panelists. Before that, uh, I would just like to do a small mic testing. Yamini ma'am.
Hello, am I
Yeah.
audible? Yeah.
Yes. Saurabh sir.
Yeah, hello. All
Yeah.
good?
Yes. Vijay Lakshmi ma'am.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes ma'am.
Hello. Okay.
Yes ma'am.
My video actually you have stopped from there only, I think. Just switch it on, please.
All right. Bhumika, if you can look into this. So we all know that this is a tough time. In fact, we are witnessing the second COVID wave, right? And in the last 1 or 2 weeks, we have even, in fact, we have not expected such change. Like again, the schools are back to the 100% virtual mode. Lately, we witnessed, if I speak about last couple of months, they were good. The senior classes students, they were coming to school, and today if we talk about, again we are back to the complete virtual mode. And the same time last year, we were in the situation of lockdown, and the kind of school adapted the virtual learning in that phase. So it is very very important when we talk about social well-being of the children, of the school going student, right? And This is the tough time, and situation is changing very frequently. Like in last year at the same time there was a lockdown, we were at complete virtual classes. Then student slowly and gradually adapted the practice of online teaching, online classes. And then school was like, it was a fortunate situation for all of us that students were coming to the school. Now again we are back to the same situation, and how it is impacting, that is the main question, and the first and foremost question that I am going to ask Dr. Saurabh Malhotra sir. Sir, my question is, now we are basically back to square one. So how it is impacting the whole situation, because we were kind of coming to the normal routine of bringing back student to the school, and it is definitely impacting the life of student. So what would you like to say on this, sir?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for giving this opportunity. Ritesh, I believe you have raised a very valid point. This whole COVID situation, which I believe my co-panelists will agree with me, the first thing which is that it has created is creation of a huge learning gap, right? So
Right.
when
Yes.
we expect our kids to learn a particular stipulated amount of learning objectives, and with this online situation, we all are academician and we can understand that the degree of understanding in the online mode is far less effective than in a face-to-face situation, right? And we are not a country with huge technological infrastructure.
Agreed.
So what I personally believe, that on one hand, whereas my personal hats off goes to the teaching fraternity, which has adapted to the situation thick and fast. But I personally believe that the kids are at a massive loss,
Hmm. Right.
which I believe my co-panelists will agree with me.
Yes,
So
yes, we do.
Vijay
We
Lakshmi
do.
ma'am, would you like to add on
Thank
something
you.
on what Saurabh sir
Yes,
said?
yes. Thank you, Ritesh. Actually, this situation, pandemic situation, has really caused a great harm to the society, to the community, and to the students as well. So, as Saurabh sir has just now said, that his heart goes out for the teaching fraternity. They have prepared, they were not so computer savvy, but then they have learned how to do Zooming and how to go online. All those things they have learned. But then, the fact remains that whatever we are teaching online to the students, uh, the actual virtual, actual whatever physically you are teaching to your students, and the student, multiple intelligent students are there in the class, different types. Some child will understand with physical classroom, some child may understand through online, but there are students in the class, 10 to 5 students there are, in every school they are there in the class, who will understand only with the push of the teacher. The teacher is always at their back, that okay, have you understood, have you understood, then she will start explaining again, or maybe he talks to his peer and he understands better. So those things are missing. So I feel that, I mean, nothing can replace a teacher teaching actually in the class, but then due to the situation of pandemic, we have come to this situation and the teachers are going online, so there is no other choice. So it is better for the students also to learn, and we need the help of each stakeholder, not only the students, the parents also have to cooperate, then only the students will be able to do better in pandemic situation. So that is what I feel, where, I mean, all the stakeholders need to be involved, not only the teacher is teaching online. So that is my take on this.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your view. Now I have very important question, because now I
I'm
am
so
going to.
sorry. May I add in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, please, you're most welcome, ma'am.
Sure. So while I agree with my fellow panelists that this has in a way widened the learning gap, because when I talk about technology and moreover technology as a resource, it is only limited to a particular section of the society. So definitely reaching out to different sections, underprivileged as well as privileged sections of the society,
Right.
has been one of the problems. But when I talk about, if online mode has been ineffective or extremely disappointing, uh, I would differ. So I think I feel blessed to be a part of an organization wherein inclusivity and holistic approach has been the two parameters that we have been working on since several years. And I think this online learning has been that moment or that mode in all of our lives, whether I am an educator or a facilitator or a parent or a learner, wherein I've got this chance to reflect that what is the real purpose of education. Is it to grasp content? Is it to just understand abstract academic concepts, or is it to equip oneself with skills? So when I talk about that, am I being able to cover as much academic content as I was able to in a physical classroom, my answer would be no. But if my question is that whether my learners are equipping themselves with new 21st technology skills, critical thinking, challenge taking, intellectual risk taking, my answer would be yes. So I feel that there have been more pros than cons. But yeah, thank you so much, panelists, for sharing the varied view.
So, Yamini ma'am, I have just a question which is related to this. I'll come back to you, Vijay ma'am. Uh, Ma'am, tell me the gap which is, kind of now this situation is creating a gap among the learning, right? Among the student for the learning. So how this is going to fill if we talk about, because this is April, we are sitting and again the schools are closed, right? And we were assuming that the schools will, the parents will regain that confidence and school will reopen, and the kind of loss which student have faced in last 1 year can be refilled once they are back. Now situation is again the same, right? So what do you think how this gap is going to bridge?
So then my question to you is, what do you mean by the learning gap? Are you only looking at the academic content? Are you looking at the skills the learners are gaining? Are you looking at the larger purpose of education, which is to make meaning making? So I think we as educators, we need to reflect on this. I mean, already if I talk about the new education policy, it has been talking about this massive change that we are going to take from traditional mode of teaching to an inclusive approach, which is going to be more child centric, right? But I think when we say that the learning gap is just getting widened and it will become all the way more difficult, I think we're only talking about the academic content. Why are we not talking about the opportunities that online mode has given us? I mean, talk about PPTs, presentations, this has increased so much of visual engagement. So when I talk about, Vijay Lakshmi ma'am was talking about multiple intelligences and how learners have different approaches to learn different things, right? So this has really made us realize how much important it is to visually engage learners. I mean, I could have never imagined a physical classroom being so vibrant and, being so innovative. The online learning mode has made me realize that. So I think it is a question that we all need to ask ourselves, that when we are saying that the learning gap has widened, are we only looking at one direction? Because the topic of the webinar is about social emotional welfare.
Right. So, Vijay ma'am would
Yeah.
want to add something. I'll come to you, Saurabh sir. Yeah, please,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, so now what ma'am is talking about, she's perfectly right when she says that I mean online mode is inclusive and all those things. That's fine. No, we must understand there's a paradigm shift in the 21st century from rote learning to the hands-on approach, the kinesthetic approach. So now when we believe in kinesthetic approach and children do learn better in through the kinesthetic approach, we have to have life skills in the students. So life skills, how she just now said that critical thinking is being improved through the online mode. So life skills are something, we need to imbibe. Not only us, our children also need to imbibe. So in life skills, the most important thing is the topic of today is social emotional being. So that
Right.
is, part of life skills. So how do we improve the social emotional skills of the children through the life skills in the students and through the online mode? This is what we need to understand. So what I feel, through the online mode we can all go in for research, and there's a project work, learning, project based learning can be there. Then there are online modes like Diksha, e-Pathshala, and then there is Khan Academy. All those people are providing online education to the students. And then through smaller groups. Now, it is not necessary that teacher has to have 40 children in the class. She can create a group of 5 children or 10 children each, and give them some project work and let them do the research, let them go online, let them go to Khan Academy's lecture, or let them go to anybody, I mean, wherever they feel comfortable. And then they come back to us and we discuss in the class what is happening. So in case the teacher is well aware what is happening in the new education policy or the present education policy also, so then only the teacher will be able to I mean give life skills to the children. Because all of us must understand whatever we are teaching academically to the students today, if I'm teaching Akbar, how it is going to be useful after 5 years for the child, that a teacher must understand. After 5 years, the child will have no meaning of this teaching. So what the child will understand and what the child will actually practice in his day to day life, that is more important, and that is the life skill. And that is your social emotional control, where I feel we need to understand how we can manage our emotions. Everybody is talking about, earlier we used to talk about intelligence quotient or social quotient, but at present we are talking about emotional quotient, EQ,
Right.
which is very, very important. A person will behave in a different manner in a different case study. I may have some emotional issue. I may crave, I may criticize, I may sit, I may have those depressive feelings. But the other person in the same situation will think, he will crib also, he will do everything, but he will only do it for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. After that, he gets up and he gets going. So that should be the attitude which we need to inculcate in our students. So they can criticize, they can crib, no problems. We are all human beings. We have to do that. But then after that, we can only brood over the things for 5 minutes or maximum 10 minutes. After that, we need to find out the solutions, the problem
Right.
solving life skill. So when we
Right.
get the problem solving skill, we tell them the steps. The first step is how to identify the issue. Then we have to discuss with people, we should understand the problem, and then we have to find the solutions. So of all those solutions, we have to find the advantages and disadvantages of each solution, and which solution is the solution which is having more number of advantages, we should take that solution. So this is how we need to understand the case studies and the real life situations. So that is how I think children must understand how to control their emotions and how to get going. After that, they need to be optimistic, productive, and effective. So it helps to identify and express emotions effectively. So you cannot control other people if you cannot control yourself. That is what I believe in. First, I need to control myself, my emotions. Then only I can ask the other person to control and react in a different manner. I should never be reactive, but I should always think about it in a positive manner and then come out with a solution and with the best solution for that matter.
Ma'am, I just stop you here. I have a question. Like, how difficult it is to keep somebody or optimistic and motivated virtually, because there's a physical touch is missing. Like in the
Yes.
classroom, you can sit, you can interact, and you can it's like there's a connect, there's a strong connect, and you cannot basically replace the physical connect with the virtual one.
You
So
can't. No.
you said that to keep people optimistic and motivated. So how difficult it is to keep them motivated and optimistic through virtual mode.
So virtual mode, it's very important because when we are taking class, so many children are sitting in the class. So the teacher need to understand the requirements of each teacher, each child, because she knows she can ask the previous teacher also. The portfolio can be given to the teachers, and the teacher must know that which she should understand her audience. I mean, that's something very, very important. If I understand my audience, I know their pulse, I can talk to them. So the teacher through the portfolios know that these children are very optimistic, these are productive, these are little weak, or these are little average. So I need to focus on these life skills with these kind of children. So maybe those kind of children where I feel that my children are not understanding, or they feel helpless, or they are depressed, or they are demotivated. So I can talk to them separately in a smaller group, not in I mean in front of the whole class of 40 children. So I can call those 5 children. I should identify, same again, problem solving situation. I need to
Right.
identify the issue of those particular children. So I need to talk to those particular children, 5 or 10 children separately, and should talk to them, motivate them, should make them understand, and should make them understand the a better life. That is what I need to do. So I need to pep them up. Sometimes I need to maybe tell them stories or laugh with them. So I need to give them that protection, that the children should know that this teacher is always behind my back. So she's whatever wrong I do or whatever I do, I can confess, I can go and talk to her, confide in her, and she is going to find a solution for my problem. So that kind
Right.
of connect has to be created
Right.
by the
So
If
teacher.
before
I
I
if I may just
uh,
take this question up.
I'll just give chance to Dr. Saurabh first, because
Sure,
he
sure.
wanted to add on something. And
Yes.
yes, Dr. Saurabh sir, please.
Thank you. I had 2 points, and I personally respect what Vijayalakshmi has just said. But my question, rather my submission is to Yamni ji. Yamni ji, the topic is social emotional well-being of the student in this whole situation of the
Pandemic.
online learning,
Right.
right? I give you a case study, and it's a real life one. I happened to talk to a 11-year-old girl who has been sitting at home for last 1.5 year or so. A very solid character, but last week this character melted down, and she had cried a lot. And the reason, she was like, I want to meet my friends. I want to play in the school ground. I want to rush through the school corridors. I want those lunch breaks. I want to go to the staff room to do the stuff for the teachers. And believe me, I had to take more than 1.5 hours to pacify her, to bring her to the situation. And this little girl happens to be my own daughter. I had to take her for a long drive before this whole 6 days lockdown. And believe you me, being a teacher, a principal, as a father first, I had a very difficult time looking into her eyes and discussing about the social, rather the emotional distress or disaster which has happened to her. You being from TIS, I really would like you to throw some light how to tackle such situation, because there are numerous students sitting at home. My daughter, after 1.5 year talk to me, there are students, they are kids. I'm not using the word student. I'm using the word kids,
Right.
right? Imagine the student, the kid who were to enter nursery and then to KG. And believe you me, my heart actually goes out for them. That what would be happening to these young little sweet blooming flowers of ours? How is it going to impact their mental, social, emotional connect? I really would like to learn from you.
Thank you so much, sir. I mean, I really do appreciate sharing such a personal experience and then bringing it out on a live platform. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for
Sorry to
sharing
interrupt.
this.
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Please go ahead.
as a as a person, as a teacher, I think uh, all those things, 24th century, 21st century skills, new education policy, blah blah blah, n number of things. For me as a teacher, it goes to the back burner. And as a father, I give it a damn. I'm sorry to use this term. If the little one is crying, and as a principal, if I talk to a class teacher and she says the kids are not interested in, they want to talk to us, but we have those 30 minutes. I'm sorry, we cannot do anything. Please go ahead. Sorry. Hmm.
Yeah, I think so. To answer your question, I would also like to present a case study from my own personal experiences. Um, I've had a student um, who wasn't able to afford a smart device, a technological device, and hence wasn't able to join the online classes for a good enough time, almost for 6 months. But during these 6 months, I, as a facilitator, reached out to that student. I connected with her over a phone. I tried to understand her situation. I tried to connect with her parents, with what is going on. And this was also a reflection for me that what should be my aim? Why is it, what do I think that the child is missing out on? Is the child missing out on the academic content, just merely the academic content that I'll be covering maybe this year? Because that can very well be covered next year. Or is the child missing out on some of the most or more important life skills?
Life skills.
Social interaction,
Right.
engaging in conversations with each other, peer sharing, discussions, reflections, right? So as a school, we have been able to reach out to these people in our community. We have provided them with smartphones. Now I understand that this just doesn't simplify the situation for all of us, because definitely when I talk about more underprivileged sections, we haven't been able to reach out to them as a holistic community. I understand that, I support that, I agree to that. But what my point is that there is a situation which is not in our hand, right? Now, rather than looking at that situation as a problem, can I look at it as a solution? Can I do as much as I can do? I understand I will not be able to do, as much as I was able to do in a physical setup or in a physical classroom. But is there a way that I can still make a difference, no matter how minute or how small it is? I think that is a question that I'm largely catering to. I'm not denying when you all are saying that there haven't been technological differences, learning gaps. No, I'm not saying that. I'm also coming with my set of limited experience. But as a facilitator, is it important to just get stuck because there is a problem and I can't do anything about it? Or is there something that I can maybe reflect on, come up with new strategies, no matter how it works? I mean, I also had to reach out to that child time and again. Some things worked, something didn't, but then there has to be a consistent process of trying and reaching out. So, yeah, if that answers your question, sir.
So now
Thank
I'll
you.
move to the next question, and I have this question for Vijay Lakshmi ma'am. Ma'am, what are the methods in which schools and educators are basically engaging with the students in this, COVID era, or I say, virtual learning?
Yes. No, as ma'am has just now said that it is little difficult. Maybe we are not able to achieve 100%, but at least, I mean, we are able to make the difference, and at least 60, 70% children are understanding. And the good ones are really making best use of this pandemic period. They are doing very well because they are going online, they are doing research, they are doing it themselves also with the help of the teacher. But I am only concerned with the students who are little weak. For them, the teachers really have to do something extra. So what is that extra? That is very important, because in class also the teacher has to do extra, and online also she has to do. So what extra she can do it, she can give them more number of worksheets, maybe average worksheets, or for the gifted ones she can go very good worksheets. And then she can, there are various sources available. NCRT has given you so many sources. You can go online and ask your children to go that lecture also. If they go to that PPT, they go to that lecture, and then next day you are also discussing the same thing with the children. I think the children will understand better, right? Because when they are listening to this NCRT portal like Diksha and all Swayam, all those portals are there. So when they're listening to them, at least 20% they are understanding, right? So I'm not saying that they'll understand 100%, but if that 20% they get it. Yes. And next time when I come to the class as a teacher, I'm teaching them. So maybe whatever I'm teaching, and they are also asking me questions, we are discussing among ourselves. So I think the children should be able to understand around 70 to 80. And best understanding is when the child himself tries to understand. So this is what I think the teachers have to do something extra. They have to go through online the best of the lectures, and they have to specify to the children that please go through this program online, only the part of it, only maybe 3 4 pages of Khan Academy. They can say, okay, oh, listen to this part only, because we cannot give unlimited work to children, right? So we can give them only the work for 10 to 20 minutes, which they will go through, and they will understand. So when they come to class, we discuss the whole thing, and they understand better. And after that, I can segregate their worksheets for better ones, for the average ones. So all those things, plus newspaper cuttings. Newspaper, is online these days. NI is providing online. HT Pace is also, they are providing online. So I can take articles from there and discuss with the students. So all those things, practically also I need to understand how my children will understand. So till the time they do not understand, I have no meaning of teaching or giving lectures in the class. So lecture holistic, what is holistic development? If they understand, they do the research themselves, and then they can discuss that point in their own group. They will develop that confidence, the self-esteem will go up. So the life skills are going to look after your children. That's something very important in this pandemic period.
So it is needless to say, ma'am, that teachers, they have worked relentlessly to kind of make this shift from a physical to virtual, and
Yes.
the innovation has taken place. In fact, the teachers who are not really adapted to, and they were not tech savvy, they have also learned
They
a
have.
lot
Yes.
during this. It is not only about the student but also about the teacher
Teachers.
fraternity.
Yes.
But we all are working for certain outcome, right? So this is a question for Yamini ma'am. Uh, Meanwhile, I would like to welcome Priyanka ma'am. She got stuck in something, and ma'am, I hope everything is well. Welcome, Dr. Priyanka Mehta ma'am.
Thank you so much. These are tough times, and
Yes.
I'm so sorry to join in late, but we just got to know that somebody is really unwell.
Oh,
So we're trying to, you know, put
Right.
things together a little. So, yeah.
Wish you good luck, ma'am, for that. So I have a question for Yamini, ma'am. So we all are working for certain outcome, Yamini, ma'am, and we all know that teacher had worked really hard to kind of make shift for first, kind of for themselves to learn uh, the online thing, adapting technology, and making student to kind of learn online, right? So it was a shift from both end, not from the one end. And now if we talk about the outcome, how we are monitoring the outcome during this uh, disruption, if I talk about, because this is everything is virtual and there's a lot of stress, how we are actually monitoring and assessing the basically the students.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your question. I think to be able to answer that, I have to go back to what the philosophy or the vision of Prakriti School is, and then I'll be able to answer the second question better. So at Prakriti, the objective of the SEAL program is to cultivate positive emotional regulation, self-compassion, and interpersonal skills, which also Vijay Lakshmi ma'am was talking about, especially in critical times like these, wherein the social emotional health has been and should be one of the major priorities. So we have always considered this to be an integral and comprehensive part of children's holistic development, but especially in remote learning, it has become all the way more important. So, if I talk about some of the methods that we are using at Prakriti, so this can be seen at three different levels. At the level of classroom, we do follow a system of facilitating circle time and life skills sessions, right? So, wherein the objective at the primary grade level is to talk about some issues like self awareness, positive self esteem, friendship, in a very subtle way, right? So maybe in the form of stories, discussions, some sort of picture analysis, reflective writing, etc. And then at the secondary level, because then we deal with the target audience becomes teenagers and adolescents, and we have to inculcate life skills there. So then the topics become more personalized and individualized, and we have to follow a more adaptive approach. So that has what largely been the philosophy been like, and we are also in the times like these, we are definitely focusing on training our facilitators both in-house and in association with outside agencies, because see, teachers also need to understand this at two levels. One, that as a facilitator, how can I take care of this? How can I take care of socio emotional well being of my learners? Second, at a personal level. Now, until and unless I, as a facilitator, believe in these philosophies, I, as a facilitator, believe that socio emotional health or well being is even more important than, maybe the physical health or the academic performance, then I will not be able to inculcate these values in my classrooms. So we do make sure that we are having these sort of reflective discussion questions, wherein the teachers are getting opportunities to imbibe these skills in themselves, right? And then answering your second question on how can educators monitor students learning and social emotional well-being during disruptions, at Prakriti, there has been an additional effort and focus to cultivate the classroom spaces as safe and inclusive. So in this online mode, we have been going beyond the academic timetable and calendar. We have been reaching out to students, organizing some small group sessions, interactive sessions, wherein the objective is not to teach any content, but just to have discussions, just to bring forth some of the problems that maybe we are facing, and we just want to reach out to somebody that we are more comfortable with, right? And then to collectively come up with a solution. And I would not say that this has just been a result of the past 1 years. Uh, we Because Prakriti established this as a vision from the very start, that the learning, the education is not about all these traditional approaches that we keep talking about. It's more about internalizing these values. We were able to work on it over the course of years, and that is why right now Prakriti, we had to change, we had to adapt to the new platform, the new technology, from physical, from blackboards to online ppts, from chalks to now annotating online on screens. But because our approaches have been ever since more child centric, we weren't required to put that much of effort in that, because we were from the start, we were clear with what the vision or the true purpose of education is or should be, right? Of course, also to mention some of the measuring strategies that you were talking about.
Right.
We have been, if I talk about the annual report of the school, so we give equal emphasis to personal, social, emotional, and academic content.
Right.
And last year, I remember, because before that, teachers used to write this down on the basis of their observations of what the child has been throughout the year. But last year's parents partnered with us because they were able to get more opportunities to observe their child at home. They were
Right.
reaching out to the facilitators that, maybe Didi, these are some of the problems that we are right now facing. He's becoming too agitated, too frustrated, he's giving up easily, he's unable to handle stress. And as a result to which, parents, teachers, as well as children, because they also do write their self-assessment reports, we were able to accumulate an annual report and give it out as a progress report for the year. So I think this year also we will be following the same approach, because definitely, if I talk about learning and only assessing children on the basis of their grades that they have got in different subjects, it really doesn't fulfills the purpose. But what matters more is that when I say that a child is confident, whether the child is confident in taking intellectual risks, whether the child is confident in not taking anything for granted, whether the child is tackling such uncertain situations and taking it up as challenges. Now these are some of the questions that we need to look upon. Also, to give you some specific examples from the questionnaire that we shared with parents, and we asked them to just share their responses with us. So some of the questions were like that, just give me a moment. So, yeah, whether you think that the child is self aware, do you think the child is responsible, is tackling his or her pleasant as well as unpleasant emotions independently, is conveying his or her feelings to you, is reaching out to you? So, these were some of the questions that we also look at when we talk about measuring somebody's socio emotional progress.
Right. Right. Thank you for sharing your view. I have next question. I'll quickly ask Dr. Saurabh. Sir, what educators are doing to increase the social engagement for the development of students?
You know what? As an educator, as an academician, my first and the foremost responsibility is to check out whether even the last student in the class is not feeling left out. You know, as an adult, when we are facing this situation, and we are often caught into saying that these are difficult times, when it comes to kids in the class, and I personally do not like to call them students. I personally like them to call as kids, because that emotional connect, till as a teacher, I am connected very well to each one of them. Whatever else we say, whatever else we do, is mere effort to show ourselves off. But traditionally, whatever has been we have been doing, we just have to connect. As Vijayalakshmi said, it is the responsibility of each and every stakeholder. So as a principal, my duty is to connect to the parents through the teachers, or through what I did personally. I'll tell you one thing, and I think the respected panelists will stand by me. Recently, I joined as a director for a school in Agra on an honorary basis, and as my first exercise, what we did, we joined with all the primary level students with their parents, and we had an interaction on the activities these kids have been doing at home in these times. And believe me, the way they have come up with their presentations, we initiated with class wise and then selected the best ones. And the enthusiasm which these kids were showing, it was magnificent, heartwarming, and believe you me, as a as an individual in the education line, I personally felt too good with this experiment that we are not doing it for the mere word sake. We are doing it as a project, as an achievement, and what last thing is what we want is any sort of depression in the students at that era. In the
Right.
beginning, you were asking about. I'm so sorry. I'll just take one more minute.
Right.
In the
Right. Please.
beginning, you were asking about the cancellation of class 10th exam and postponement of class 12th.
Right.
You know, this is the time when I personally believe that the motivation level of the present 12th, means those who were supposed to work for 2021 and the exams have got postponed, to keep them motivated, to keep them intact in their enthusiasm to appear for the exam, I believe is the biggest challenge that we academicians are facing.
Right.
Because when a particular thing is push sign a die, we lose interest in that. And this is the topic I really wanted respected Vijay ma'am to throw some light on it.
Okay. So I have the permission, Ritesh.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Please.
okay. So, Mr. Saurabh, I feel the children need to be motivated, though it is very depressing that their exams have been postponed because they have all been preparing. And class 10th also, it's my personal view. I don't know. I mean, they must have taken care of various things. But then I think it shouldn't have been cancelled. They should have had their exam,
At the first
because
place.
whatever it is, how they appear, what they perform, what they do is different. Our objective, why we have class 10 exams, the main objective is that this is the first step for the board exams. They learn how to appear in the board exams. So, you have seen the result of CCE when class 10 exams were cancelled. So class 10, when the children came to class 12, see the results, they were not that great. So the children who are appearing in class 10th board, their results are better in class 12th because they are motivated once they get good marks in class 10th. So they want to maintain that marks, and they feel that ultimately in class 12th also they are going to fare very well. So this, I think personally, if you ask me, class 10th exam cancellation is not a very great idea. And class
I
12th,
agree with you.
how we keep them motivated, class 12th people, it is only that because they have to appear for their entrance exams and their life depends, basically now their life depends upon class 12th exams, right? So if their life depends on that, so they have to really, I mean, the parents have to be very sympathetic. Teachers also have to be very, very, but not sympathetic, but empathy has to be there. You put yourself in their shoes and you will understand that those children really need your help, your protection. The feeling of protection, I'm very, very, passionate about. That the feeling of protection of the parents, that my parents are at my back, my teacher is at my back. So that is something which is required for the students. If the teachers and the parents are collectively helping the child to keep his emotional balance, to keep emotional balance is very important, and to motivate him, no matter whatever marks they are going to get, they are the children, they are the parents' children, and we are going to love them for this. And it's not necessary they will have to get 98% only, because even if they don't get 90%, they will be successful in their lives. It depends upon, again, it comes to the life skills. The life
Right.
skills which they have imbibed throughout their school time, that will help them in the long run, not only the results. So we need to keep them protected and help them always, as a teacher, as a parent, as a principal, as director of the school, everybody, we need to help them and protect them. That feeling
Thank
of
you.
protection is required.
I would just like
Thank
to
you.
add a point here.
Yeah,
Um,
just quickly add it like
yeah, yeah,
30
sure,
seconds.
sure.
Ma'am also, I think Priyanka ma'am
Yeah,
also has
because I want to go
Yeah,
to Priyanka ma'am with a
I'll really
question.
not take more than 2 minutes to say this. I think it is ironical that on one end we really want learners to feel secured, safe, and not judged by the kind of marks they get. But
yes.
on the same hand, we are feeling disappointed when grade 10th and 12th exams have been cancelled. Exams which only analyze learners' performances on the basis of the academic scores that they get. So, just a question thinking out loud that, these are both contradictory statements, and I think we as reflective practitioners, we as change makers need to really think about it. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Yamini ma'am. Now, Priyanka ma'am,
Thank
I
you.
have a similar question because see, we majorly spoke about the class 10th exam which got cancelled, and the class 12th exam when I talk about these got postponed. Uh, the career, when I talk about career, it means the college life begins right after 12th, and the delay in the date is not declared. And last year also we have witnessed a lot of student, they got admitted lately in September or late August, and this process used to I guess there's some background noise at somewhere. If you can just keep yourself mute, sir. Yeah. So Priyanka ma'am, now since there are a lot of students in India, there's a huge number those who write JE medical, right? There are several entrance tests, and now there is absolutely no clarity about the board exams. So this is going to impact student, and they are also going to impact emotionally. So what do you think? How schools can help these students? Because they are almost uh,
Receiving
at
end.
the exiting phase from the school, but they are again emotionally impacted. So what do you think, how schools can contribute to help them?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks, Ritesh. It's, I think, speaking in the end and a volley of a question, I should say. We're all struggling through this, understanding how times are going to go ahead from here. Um, I would quite agree with Vijay Lakshmi Singh ma'am when she said that a lot has been thrown to the air to understand for the parents and the children, because all these years, I would say, Ritesh, we come from a learning where everything starts and ends at an exam and its result. So with the new education policy coming in, I think we are only happy to initiate a little change here. And what I feel is that, number one, the most affected lot at this time is the child, because the child has been groomed right from, I would say, not even class 9. The child has been hearing it right from class 6, where certain schools, they start with their foundation trainings, they start with their god knows what programs. Somehow, if I'm sounding a little a tangent to these programs, with due respect to all those who do it, it's all fine. I mean, I'm nobody to comment on it, but I personally feel that children who have been groomed with this thought process that if exam doesn't happen, I will not be able to look ahead in life, we need to, as educators, we need to be working on that first. Class 10 I'll take first, and I'll be quite crisp on this. Class 10, it's only to okay if the exams have not happened. We have to go back and tell the children and parents that it's the safety and security of the child that we're looking at first. There was a lot of apprehension in the parents, even if the boards had happened. I don't see if the thought, that kind of thought had gone in place, where I don't know why the schools were not enabled to just conduct their own exams properly at a proper time when things were much better, and children could have gone ahead with the kind of scores that are actual scores. But now
Right.
that they are not there, there isn't any real a deficit that is happening with class 10, because the child is getting promoted in the same school. So there, the school counselors, the wellness teachers, the class teachers have to take up the role of talking to children and talking to parents. It's very important, because we have to go ahead. The major decision that has gone in oblivion is which stream to choose.
Right.
Because The result was the basis for this decision. There was no other decision happening there,
Right.
right? So other things were, other things were like secondary. Abhi, result we need, so what stream to choose? Now here the school has to understand, and I feel it's only most appropriate that we've done it this time because we've already initiated the change process, and that was supposed to be done either in 2023 or 2024 with the new education policy being there. It really doesn't matter. We have to now follow the child's heart. We have to follow the child's aptitude, the skills, the support system, the parent thought process. We have to now align ourselves as partners.
Right.
That is what we need to understand. Now, that is number one. Considering class 12, I am happy to share here that I know a lot of universities who are pretty open to the way children take admissions to the courses there. A lot of universities have their own exams, entrance exams. A lot of
Right.
universities have liberal choices being offered to the children. There isn't a grade loss. So if NEET, JEE, or other, or whether you are getting into NETA or you are getting into other courses, if at all they have their own exams, I think we're only taking time to understand that if class 12 result is moderated or done in a different manner, how will children be enabled to sit for these exams, or how will the colleges align themselves with the entrance tests that will follow from here? Now, if we all understand, colleges would only start working by August, right?
Right.
So
Right.
what we've done is that we've shifted the decision from having an exam in May to probably a little later date, is what I feel. So we will have to understand that it is challenging. Now, if at all we were to have exams amidst the kind of chaos we have today around, I think it was only too welcome a decision that the exams were postponed, right? Now I just hope that we step into that time when children are able to attempt an online test for class 12. It is more ability abled. It is more it's aligned to what the concepts are. It's aligned to something that is more relevant to what the child knows, understands, and wants to do in life. I think that will put a lot of things in place. And apart from that, if I talk about careers, and if I want to align my understanding with careers, I think children, now is the time when the career counseling department of the schools, which most of the good schools I feel have and is in place, and they're already talking to children. For example, if I was to take my school, we are already in the process of trying and understanding how children are going ahead with their streams, what are the career options open, what are the entrance tests that are going to take place. And I think if the board exam takes about 45 days to complete in a normal way, in an offline manner, the entrance tests can be aligned again, so that the colleges can then start off, if not early in August, maybe later in August. But what is most important right now is the question of healthy emotional survival. We
Right.
need to understand that there are higher order priorities that we need to be taking care of. There are people who are sick. There are parents who are not understanding how to manage things. Like we were struggling to talk to one of the parents who is willing to go back to the home state, and doesn't know how things are going to be, like what are the centers going to be, how the child is going to attempt the paper, the child is going to come to class 12, and the papers are going to happen offline. But the means have constrained the parent to go back to someplace else, and look at other things. So
Right.
it's only coming at the moment that the things are postponed. I quite agree with the decision, and I feel that careers are not at stake at the moment. That's not what we should be worried about.
Right.
We need
Right.
to be looking at how children are evolving from the kind of negativity that's spreading around them, the kind of panic that is around them. We need to help children understand how it's going. And if there are parents who are listening to me, and if they can agree with this, there are a lot of online things that the children can be engaged with. They can use this time to I can understand that a child cannot repeatedly revise the syllabus over and over again. There is a limit to how many revisions you can have. There's a limit to how many pre-boards you can have. So if the teachers and the school can step in to help children and initiate certain online courses, certain it could be course in third language, or it could be a skill based course, children would be intelligently and effectively occupied and doing something that would add to their profile. So even today or tomorrow, I think the world is opening up to them. You don't have to be restricted to one single area of a university region, or understanding how closed your options are on the percentages. I don't think so that is any more relevant now. The colleges are way ahead in their thought processes. We have some beautiful systems coming up with liberal education. And if at all we all understand that children are struggling with their results and exams, I'm sure the university commissions would look at it and grant whatever buffers and safety nets are required for the children. They really don't have to panic on this at the moment. I have been talking to some of the people in the universities and colleges, and I'm very happy to see that they're pretty upcoming with things, because they're ready to take on with the schools and partner wherever they can. So it's not something that is immediately to be worried about. It's more
Right.
important that we talk to our children, we engage them, we kind of, like ma'am said, and like I totally agree with Yamini there, that emotional connect, social connect is hugely missing with our children right now. And we must sit back and spend some time together and try and support each other with whatever positive thinking that can happen between the teachers, between the school, between the teachers and the parents. And of course, very rightly said by Malhotra sir also, that parents can be a great motivational resource for any school. We have been,
Right.
I'll just take one more minute to share a very interesting incident here, that we did pass on a message. A lot of teachers were falling sick. So we did pass on a message to the parents that we would request your help and understanding if a teacher is at particular point not able to take a class, or we have to suspend certain classes suddenly. I got this very sweet message from a parent that that she would be ready to offer her services as a substitute teacher or an assistant teacher wherever and whenever the school wants. So we're already getting into that mode where a very healthy understanding and partnership is building up, and I'm only looking forward to more.
Wonderful. That's really a great message from a parent, and they are now understanding.
Yes.
In fact, we are understanding each other
Yes.
that way. So I'll go to Vijay Lakshmi ma'am for a quick question. Ma'am, I just want your quick feedback on this question asked by one of the parent. He's saying that Abhinav Kaushik is the parent, and he's saying that what is the action plan for the student who's below 7 years of his age, right? Because we all know that it is really difficult to keep younger children intact, and several studies has revealed that 85% of the brain development happens at the early age, let's say till the 7 year. So how schools are going to basically they are catering this issue?
Now, as far as small children, I understand. As I said in the beginning, also, all the stakeholders need to help each other, because child who's in class 2 or 1, very small children, they don't even take online classes so seriously. Sometimes, the teacher is teaching and they are away and they are thinking, they are doing some fiddling with some papers and all. So during that time, I think parents are a big resource, and maybe the mother can sit with the child, and whatever the teacher is making the child understand, the parent can repeat it again. Repetition will be the help, will be a great help. And secondly, I'll request all the teachers, not to teach in a typical, that teaching manner. The learning objective is the child should understand. So that
Right.
objective can be fulfilled with little bit of innovation, little bit of activity. So in case we make a study activity based, whatever chapter we are teaching, at least one activity we should do with that chapter, which the child can understand better, and the child is participating in that activity. So the child will be engaged also, and he will be socially understanding, and social connect will also be there. If the teacher
Right.
is only teaching in a lecture method, the child will not understand at all, and he will not
Right.
be attentive also in the class. So it is basically the activity based teaching and learning and innovative teaching which will help the teachers and the students also.
Right. So quickly, Yamini ma'am, if you can
Ritesh,
add
can I
for
just
one
add
minute.
one second? Yeah,
Yeah, Priyanka ma'am, please.
yeah, yeah. Just 1 second. I'll just add to what ma'am has said. that we understand that children are young and they're not made for, none of the kids is made for an online mode. we
Yes.
we
Right.
all agree with that, but I also want to share here that this is the best option that we have right now. So let's not contest this.
Yes.
My sincere request to all the parents is that kindly help make it easier
Yes.
for the teachers.
Yes.
Also, we need you to step in. We're trying to do our best. Another thing, I think what we have also taken into account from past 1 year of experience with online classes with younger children is that we did manage to divide them in smaller groups and try and
Yes.
put in, one-to-one interactions once in a while. And the shift has there's a shift from content to concept. And I think when that shift comes in, it's very interesting for the parent and the child to stay engaged.
Yes.
We will have to understand that at the moment it is not school at home, it's not a classroom duplicated at home. It is a learning that is being engaged to help the child to keep growing with whatever
Yes.
minimum, I think, we can help the child to learn in a way that is best suitable for the child. But the content here does not become important.
Yes.
So if you're looking at content, if we're trying to finish up a poem and we're trying to say कि अब इसको learn करके तुम recite भी कर दो, question answers भी दे दो,
Concept.
वहां पर वो
Concept.
pressure आएगा. That pressure will hit the child. So
Right.
we have learned over the 1 year that I you know we've had last year, and I think all the teachers are doing a wonderful job. But we must request parents to be a little more patient and make it easier for us. Thank you.
So I'm sure everyone has reimagined the way school used to happen before pandemic, right? And we have
Yeah,
reimagined and innovated. So Yamini ma'am, a quick
sure.
feedback followed by
Yeah.
Saurabh sir.
I think as I've already been saying, and I would like to give more emphasis to it. More than the mode in which the learning is taking place, what matters more is the approach and the vision that you have, the meaning, the purpose that you think the education needs to fulfill. So I would just like to quote a few specific examples that we have been doing with children, below the age group of 7 years. So we have this very interesting reading program going on, wherein children gather, they get together in smaller groups. They bring out their own storybooks. They're reading it. They're sharing it with each others, and other children are just giving each other some sort of constructive feedback. So more than enhancing the language skills, what that program is doing is bringing the group together socially and emotionally. Also, as correctly pointed out by Vijay Lakshmi ma'am and Priyanka ma'am, that these are the times when we need to realize the importance of child-centric approaches, hands-on creativity, and making our classrooms more inclusive. So we do conduct activities like bring a mango or any fruit that you might have, touch it, try to feel it, try to see what color, what taste, what smell do you get, what are the sensorial experiences that you're extracting from it. So why can't we look at these kind of amazing activities in the online mode? I mean, imagine doing this in a physical classroom, one teacher versus 20 students, to now when we have the option of breaking out into different rooms, and simultaneously I can take up 500 classes. So
It's only
just
turned out better. It's turned
yeah,
out better. It's turned out
absolutely.
better in many cases.
Yeah,
I don't know why we've not mentioned children with special needs here,
yeah.
but I think we've been able to help children in a much, much better manner because we've been able to attend to their queries and their attention spans. So it's come out better in most of the cases. It's not something that that is something that people have not understood. So it's come out better.
Yes.
Saurabh sir, I have a quick question for you because we are, almost hitting the closure time. So we have seen like the students of class 11th and 12th, they are a bit like they are self-aware, they can read, and a kind of push is required from their end rather than somebody else is pushing them. But we have recently seen and we have witnessed this in news that parents are kind of they are comfortable with the online examination, right? But when we talk about the classes of board, let's say class 12th specifically, like Vijay Lakshmi ma'am was like little she was in the favor of board exam. So it is it is about their performance, and the outcome of class 12th result is going to decide the rest of their journey, right? When only with respect to the admission in the colleges or the entrance test, let's say. So now they are appearing for the online examination, and board are gonna happen offline. So how school is catering to that issue at this point in time? Because student has no practice of writing exam for the whole of the year, and it will really it will become really difficult for them to write a 3-hour paper, right? So how school is actually addressing this issue? Because you are dealing with the senior classes, so I really want your feedback. Sir, you have to unmute. Saurabh sir, you have to unmute.
Thank you, Ritesh. Ritesh, I believe there are 2 points here, and I respect what Priyanka ma'am was saying, that universities and colleges are coming up with open mindset and innovative ideas to accept their new class. And what Vijay Lakshmi ma'am was asserting, that importance of the board cannot be negated as of now, because these kids, these students have to move on to the next level on the
Right.
basis of those marks. Yamni ji was suggesting that we need to look it into a broader and holistic manner. And it is a bit ironical that we are stressing on exams on one hand and 21st century skills on the other. You know, right now what we are facing, we are at the cusp of actually change of traditional mode to the modern approach with this online and all other things. When it comes to it, particularly the 12th class, the present 12th class, I don't know whether others would accept it or not, but I personally believe that no system can be dismantled in any situation. As they say, the show must go on, maybe in a curtailed on a different manner. And when it comes to conducting of board exam, it's not just the colleges in India.
Right.
I'm looking at both perspectives.
Right.
Kids who have applied for abroad, their admissions, their money, their dreams, their aspirations are at stake
Right.
with these delaying of the examination. I was looking at, I was in another webinar where one of the parents was there, and he was like, the board should go on to online mode of examination.
Right. But
You
sir,
know,
then the question come: Are we really
online
equipped?
examination.
Are we really
We
equipped
are
with
not
that sort of
equipped. We
infrastructure?
are definitely not equipped. You know, we are when a parent says that sitting in Delhi, that we have got the bandwidth, we have got the broadband, we have everything. They just need to travel 50 kilometers from the borders of Delhi in any direction, be it Greater Noida side, be it Gurgaon or Rewari, or be it towards the Bagpat side, or be it Sonipat. I'm just asking you to take a circumference of 50 kilometers from Delhi border. You will find kids having a basic phone, and some of that not even the basic phone to study. We are talking about uh, online teaching, prime minister online teaching. I have been taking so many sessions at NCR, but believe you me, the fact of the matter lies in the fact that we at present are scarcely equipped in conducting online examination. Yes, what we can suggest is to have a curtailed examination, slightly change the mode of examination. Priyanka ma'am was suggesting moderation of the result. I respect it. But to do away with the examination, I stand with Vijayalakshmi ma'am that examination of even the 10th class
Should have been.
could have been taken up the way we are talking about for the 12th class. And so far as my basic understanding goes, CBSE has not put the guard down by now, and they are not saying we are not going to conduct.
Right.
Right? I know these are difficult times, but we have to accept that it's people like us who have to come up with some new methodology, maintaining the sanctity of the examination on one hand, and keeping the health and safety of the kids on the other. I
Thank you,
think I
Saurabh
should
sir.
rest with this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Vijay Lakshmi, ma'am, quickly, if you can
Uh,
share.
just one query.
Yeah,
Class 10th and 12th exams, whatever we are having, we have to talk about the whole India. We cannot talk about only Delhi or only metro cities. So that is the problem with us, that in villages and all, we do not have these online modes.
right.
So that is why physical examination was important. So how it has to be conducted, that CBSE has to think about it, or the MHRD also has to think about it, but the exams should continue as it is, because these are the when we talk about life skills and activity based, project based learning, from class nursery to class ninth, we have enough of time to clear their concepts, enough of time to give them the life skills, everything. But when it comes to 10th and 12th, it should continue like this. So that
Thank
is
you.
my personal feeling. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijay Lakshmi, ma'am. Now, this is the last question of this webinar, and I would like to ask this question to Priyanka, ma'am, and then Yamini, ma'am. Ma'am, how can evidence-based practice help improve system and be used to identify students for targeted support required to engage in learning?
Absolutely, that's absolute of importance. But what I want to also understand is that what kind of evidence are we talking about? Are we talking about a child-centric evidence, or are we just talking about something that the teacher has collected on the basis of an activity, or something has been done once in a time, and it doesn't project the actual child. So it's important that we understand that evidences are important. I mean, what do you call an evidence? I would say a notebook work also is an evidence. I would say a classroom response is an evidence. I would say a child not switching on the camera during an online class where the teacher is asking again and again is an evidence. So what are we looking at essentially, and what are we trying to find the evidence for? Now, what is the purpose of getting this evidence? If you want the evidence to be supporting us to understand what next do we need to do in the class, well, then we need to go in for a continuous monitoring of the classes. We need to have multiple things being done in the class, so that each child who is unique and will reply in a different manner, will engage in a different manner, has had the opportunity to express. It's very important that we understand not all children can be dancers, not all children can react to music, not all children will react to a PPT, not all children will react to an activity in the class. They all react in a different manner, they all are different. So we need to first understand what is the purpose of collecting the evidence. Second, how am I going to use that evidence? How much is this evidence going to help me plan my lesson ahead, or am I understanding where my gaps are? Now that's a huge question. If I'm trying to understand where my gaps are, then like Yamini was sharing earlier, there has to be a lot of self awareness and self assessment in place, because a child has to be given the freedom to express. We are
Right.
not in a classroom here. We are on an online mode, sitting across the screen. I can't even see the child's hands or legs. I can't even make out whether child is in a jumper or wagging his feet around, not connected to the teacher, thinking of 10 things, has a mobile on I'm sure all the panelists will agree with me. Half of us are returning messages on the mobile as we are in the webinar today. So what stops a child from doing that? So we have to understand that first of all, define what are the learning outcomes in your classroom. What is it that you're looking for? You're looking for understanding how to plan my lesson ahead so the evidences go in a different direction. I'm planning an assessment to understand the content knowledge, then the evidence is slightly different. And I say that the online classes has only given us more freedom and great creativity to design a differentiated assessment. We are able to give 10 assignments to 10 different children following this pattern. The beautiful platforms where you can bring in an understanding where children are talking, they are looking at Google forms, they're looking at polls, they're looking at quizzes, Kahoot, and god knows what more. The teachers are on their creative best creating these assessments right now. So yes, evidences are important, and I would say in times like these where we are not physically connected to the children at the moment, it should be more continuous, and we should look at short interval based assignments. A lot can be given. You see, I understand most of the schools face a challenge where integrity is a huge question while writing assessments. We've seen some great results coming in our classes. The averages are scooped up to what extent, and we know the children. So we understand that how things are happening. Now, as an educator, I can't be calling my child over a screen and saying that, well, I don't think you've been honest with your assessment. I shouldn't be doing this. Instead, I should be planning an assessment in a way that even if the child opens a book, wants to look for something on Google or wants to look at anything on the internet, is able to add on to the content and express himself or herself in the best manner. Now, here is an evidence wherein the teacher is able to understand if the concept has matched with the intellectual capacity of the child. So, for me, I feel uh, hardcore orthodox assessments are not so effective as on date, and I would not want to go with them. I would want teachers to design better assessments and assignments, and we should be looking at things to be done in a different manner. You see, if you look at the entire way IB has changed, they've done away with their exams. They're looking at project reports, they're looking at diploma reports, they're looking at so many different things in place. So it's only nice, and now is the time when we can use our own resources and the online time that we have, the exposure that we have. There's lots that's happening on the IT support sector. The entire industry shifted to the schools, and I've never seen so many mails coming in with all those platforms of engaging and evaluating children. So let's find out something better and collect the evidences, as we call those evidences, in a way that they define the child, they support the child rather than judge the child. We shouldn't be judging the children right now. It's just not the right time, I should say.
So I'll just go to Yamini, ma'am. Ma'am, what you would like to add on the modern assessment? Like ma'am rightly said, that okay, we should not follow the orthodox method way of assessing the children, and we are in now a different situation altogether. We have moved to the virtual thing, and modern assessment is required. So what is your say on this?
I think I largely agree with what Priyanka ma'am shared, because, in times like these, even otherwise, it is time to realize the importance of assessment for learning and not assessment of learning, right? So when I say that, so what is the objective of taking the assessment? Is the objective to see how much was the child able to understand at the level of the content or the curriculum? Is the objective to analyze and reflect on my pedagogies as a facilitator, that how much was I able to impart, what kind of creativity was I able to provide my learners with? Or is the objective to come up with a cumulative learning path based on how much the child has understood, how much was I able to facilitate the child with, and what can we do about this in future, right? So why can't, as directly, correctly shared by Priyanka ma'am, and we also follow this philosophy at Prakriti. Whenever we make assessments, we are definitely exploring these different online platforms, which gives us more opportunities to visually engage our learners. But also the objective of these assessments is that this is checking conceptual knowledge and understanding. I'm not saying that we are totally negating that. That is way more important. That is also equally important. But we are doing it in such a way that even though learners have to look at certain YouTube links and online resources, they're able to answer those questions in their own personal ways. They're able to form their own personalized learning trajectories. So I think that is what we all need to look at, because I am not assessing to check what is the score of my learner in, let's say, in English or math, or okay, the child is not clear with these many concepts but understands these concepts. The idea is that what can I do as a facilitator to scaffold my child in this learning process. So I think that is a broader question that we need to look at as reflective practitioners, and we have been doing that. I think teachers worldwide have taken this, great initiative of coming out of their comfort zone, which was just attending, being a part of a physical classroom, and now exploring so many resources that we already have online, right? So I think it is time. The wave has already started. We are already in the process of realizing the true purpose of education. We just need to go ahead with this. So yeah,
Right.
with that, I would like to conclude.
Right. Thank you so much, Yamini ma'am, and thank you so much, all the eminent panelists. It is really, really important to understand these issues, and we are here to talk on that. Uh, the most important thing is now, again, the situation is going worst, and schools are basically quickly adapting to each and every situation now from last 1 year, and that is really, really appreciable. And I must say that school has worked a mile ahead of their comfort zones. They have worked out for plans for virtual learning, handling parents, handling student, and handling the teachers also. When it comes to school administrator, they have very well managed their teachers to kind of make that shift. And the kind of innovation has happened uh, during last 1 year, when it is PPT driven teaching, or maybe some of the video driven teaching, or the other method. So school has done a lot. And on the behalf of UniApply, I would like to thank each one of you to be here. And I would like to thank all the audience. And for those who joined late, I would like to tell you about UniApply. UniApply is a common application platform where parents come, they explore school for their kids, and they decide where to, like, based on different parameter, they can shortlist their school, and they can apply for that particular school from the very platform of UniApply. So thank you so much, and I wish you good health. This is really, really tough time, we all know. So wishing good health is the most important thing. Uh,
Thank
Thank
you so
you,
much.
all
Thank
of
you,
you.
Ritesh, and
Thank
all
you.
the best to you and your team. You're doing a wonderful job.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ritesh.
everyone.
Thank you. God bless.
Bye.
Thank
Thank you so much for providing us with this opportunity.
thank you.